The mic light snaps dead as Lila whispers, "I'm 72, the father they tried to erase." After my son forgot to hang up and I heard every word. Pastor Ruth steps forward. Raffle tickets rasp. I lift a USB. 2 minutes promised. Proof ready. Keep the mic live. At 4:58 p.m. on a gray Sunday, my son forgets to hang up, and I stop being soft. "Sick still good?" I say, phone tucked between shoulder and jaw as I reach for my jacket. "One sec, Dad," Evan answers. The line stays alive. A door opens on his end. Voices, the quick hush of a house that isn't mine. Lila's voice cuts clean. "Was that your dad again?" There's a pause I can measure in breaths. "We're juggling," Evan says. "Then stop offering Sundays," she says. "He needs boundaries." "No night driving. It's safer." My thumb presses the speaker off. I stand still and listen like it's a radio I didn't buy. A drawer slides. A fork touches a plate. The small sounds of a life where I'm a background station. When Evan comes back on, his voice is bright. "Dad? Sorry, can we rain check?" "We could," I say, "or we could just eat dinner." "Tonight's messy. I'll see you at 6. I hang up before he can sand it smooth. I put on a clean shirt, the one with the good collar, and drive to St. Luke's for my usual round of being useful. The vestibule smells like coffee and paper cups. A poster boards the hallway. Lakefront benefit. Sun. October 26th, 6:30 p.m. Blue letters and a cartoon canoe. I take a photo. It's a habit. Schedules keep people honest. In the aisle, an usher drifts over with a clipboard. "Mr. Quinn, we've got a senior ride sign up if evenings are tough." "Evenings are fine," I say. "No shame in a lift." I'll save my shame for louder things. The clipboard edge taps the pew. He shifts, embarrassed, and offers a pen anyway. The line for my name stays blank when I pass. Pastor Ruth spots me. "Harold!" We're short on hands for the fundraiser. "Put me where there's a list," I say. "Sign-in table, then. Your calm makes people behave." "I have a calm?" I ask. "You have a look," she smiles. Her smile is what keeps me at this church, not the hymns. My phone buzzes. A text from Lila. "PTA prep tonight. Probably safer not to drive after dark." The words "wear a sweater." I type, erase, type again. We meet near the supply closet. Evan's name glows on my screen. I call. He answers on the second ring. "Dad, don't take that the wrong way." "What's the right way?" I ask. "We're thinking about a family policy," he says, "just for safety." "Policy?" I say. "Since when do I report to HR?" A woman rearranging hymnals looks over. Evan sighs. "Please, can we talk later?" "We are talking," I say. "It's not a big deal." "If it's so small, stop saying it to other people." He goes quiet. The line doesn't click dead. It just drains of sound. I slide the phone into my pocket before I say something that would stain the carpet. Pastor Ruth leans on the doorframe. "You all right?" "I'm fine." "You don't have to be fine," she says. "You can be accurate." "I'll be at the sign-in table," I say. She nods. "And bring your kayak for the raffle photo next week. The lake looks good when people are generous." "I'll bring the one that doesn't leak." She laughs and it lifts something inside my ribs. Heart pulse. I'm not fragile. I'm being handled. On my way out, I stop by the poster again. The blue letters look friendlier than they should. I frame the date with my thumb and forefinger and take another picture, closer this time. The phone screen reflects my face, sharp and older than I feel. That's the thing about glass. What it shows depends on the angle. Outside, a drizzle starts the way a rumor starts, typical for Tacoma. I walk to the truck. The phone buzzes again. "Evan, we'll figure dinner. I'll text you in a bit." I sit with the engine off. The dashboard clock moves a minute. The phone shows the text bubble. 3 gray dots, breathing, promising a sentence that never arrives. The volunteer schedule hits my inbox before coffee finishes dripping. I scroll to the bottom, where organizations tuck details no one reads. Lakefront benefit, Sunday, October 26th, 6:30 p.m. It repeats like a refrain. I thumb the date into my head, the way I used to memorize part numbers. Outside, the morning smells like wet fur. I take a small walk along the HOA sidewalk to prove to myself that nothing about my legs or my eyes has changed overnight. Lila's Prius eases to the curb like she's been waiting for me. She lowers the window. Harold, quick thing. We've been talking about a family policy. No driving after dark. Good to know I work here, I say. Evan leans across from the passenger seat, eyes aiming peace. Dad, it's just safer. It's a policy because it sounds official, I say. Because it sounds official. Lila smiles the way a nurse does when the needle's already in. We can schedule around it. We're just protecting you. Schedule this. I decide when I drive, I say. A neighbor watering a pot of geraniums pretends not to listen. The hose makes a hissing comment. Lila taps the steering wheel, still smiling. We'll text you dinner options. Text me respect, I say. They roll away. The neighbor lifts the hose at me like a toast and then lowers his eyes. Heart pulse. I don't need a chaperone. I need respect. At the grocery, I stack milk, eggs, a small steak. The scanner chirps. The clerk glances at my hands, then at the line behind me. Do you want the senior escort to your car? I know the way to my car, I say. It's store policy. After dusk. It's 10 in the morning. She points at a laminated sign. We care for seniors, with a cartoon cane. A teenager at the end of the belt looks up from his phone to watch the exchange, eyes curious like I'm a YouTube challenge. Bag it heavy, I say. I'll survive. In the parking lot, I load the bags and stand still for a second. Not because I'm tired, but because the idea that I'm supposed to be is starting to stick to other people's faces. A couple I know from the block push a cart past, both waving the small, careful wave reserved for people on ladders or ice. Back home, my family thread pings. A photo appears. Their living room lamp in pieces on a rug I bought them when Nora was still here. Lila. No blame, just documenting. Evan. We'll replace it, Dad. No question mark. No space for my version of the visit. I type. Lamp was cracked last week. I told you to rotate the shade. Delete. Type. I didn't touch it. Delete. I'm not going to argue with a photo, even if it's a story with a caption pasted on. I call Evan. He answers. We're not trying to upset you. You posted that to the family thread like a police report, I say. It's just a record, he says. Of what? Of how things are. How things are is you two making rules about me without me, I say. He exhales, the sound of a rubber seal giving way. Can we do this later? We are doing it. Silence stretches. We love you, he says finally. We're trying to help. Help looks a lot like control from where I'm standing. Dad, say less, listen more. I hang up before he can tuck the conversation into a soft drawer. The phone buzzes again. Lila, we'll pick a dinner next week that's daylight. A beat later. Also safer for the kids' bedtime. Thanks for understanding. I don't answer. People mistake silence for agreement. I use it as a filing cabinet. I wash the single plate I used last night and set it to dry. The kitchen window frames the street. The same neighbor walks his dog, not looking at me, which is new. I check the volunteer email again, scroll to the footer on purpose. Let the line, Sun, October 26th, 6:30 p.m., steady my breathing. Schedules keep people honest. Or they show you who isn't. I pocket my phone and start a list on paper. Who said what? When? It isn't evidence, it's memory with edges. The pen feels good in my hand. Weight I still control. The phone pings once more. This time not a text, not an email, but the indifferent voice of the calendar itself. HOA Monthly, Friday, October 24th, 7 p.m. The call timer climbs on my screen, a thin red bar doing what a voice won't, telling the truth. I lift the phone from the table and hold it near my ear. A drawer closes on Evan's end. Plates touch. Then Lila's voice, clean as a cut. You have to stop inviting him every Sunday. Evan tries for neutral. We'll figure it out. Figure it out means you handle it. Move his paperwork before he starts slipping. We should take power of attorney now. The line is still open. I don't breathe for a beat. The red bar keeps time like a metronome for betrayal. I steady my thumb and bring the call log into focus. 7:14 p.m. sits at the top. I press the buttons I trust. Save, then a plain email to myself. Subject line, call left open. One sentence describing exactly what I heard. Send. The air in my house feels cooler. Heart pulse. I heard enough. I'll answer with paper. I put on my jacket and drive through rain that needles the windshield. Not because I like drama, but because truth sounds better at human distance. Evan's porch light throws a soft circle on the steps. I ring the bell. Evan opens with a practiced smile. Hey, Dad. Now is exactly when, I say, stepping under the porch roof. Lila appears behind him, arms folded in a gentle shape that manages to block the hallway. What's wrong? You forgot to hang up, I say to Evan. I didn't mishear. I heard you planning to move my life around without me. He glances at Lila, then back. Dad, you caught a snippet. Context. My phone didn't. The door edges closer to my chest as if it has opinions. Across the street, a porch light snaps on. Blinds shift. A neighbor's window turns into a rectangle of attention. Evan lowers his voice. Let's not do this out here. You did it out here, I say, on a line I pay for. Lila's tone goes satin. We said we're concerned. You raised your voice at church last month. I cleared my throat during a hymn. Your edit did the yelling, I say. She keeps smiling. We're just taking precautions. If you're fine, you're fine. If I'm fine, I don't need your paperwork. I hold his eyes. Say what you said on the phone. To me, Evan's jaw moves once, twice, like he's chewing a word he doesn't want to show. We thought it might be better if I helped with decisions. Decisions need consent, not corners, I say. You don't get to erase me with convenience. Lila takes the handrail, not for balance but to mark the edge. We'll text you next week. Daylight dinner, safer. You'll text me respect, I say, and you'll stop calling gossip concern. The blinds across the street ripple again. There's the faint click of a motion sensor resetting. I feel the optics engineering themselves around me. The stubborn old man on a porch, the sensible young couple inside. Evan tries one last soft thing. Dad, you're making a scene. I'm making a record. I step back into the rain. Door's yours. Voice is mine. He doesn't argue. He also doesn't apologize. The door closes at the speed of a polite rejection. Back home, I put the phone on the table and let the house breathe. I open the calendar and create a card. Neuropsych eval, Saturday, October 18th, 10 a.m. Then save it as draft. Not because I doubt myself, but because I refuse to let anyone else draft me. I open my notes and type a title in block letters. Receipts. The cursor blinks, ready to be fed. The clinic smells like lemon cleaner and winter coats that haven't earned the season yet. A sign on the plexiglass asks for patience. I can spare some. Name? The receptionist says, eyes on her screen. Harold Quinn. I need to schedule a capacity evaluation. Independent. Her fingers move. There's a concern note on file from your son. She keeps her voice neutral like a nurse reading rain totals. Before we schedule anything, we need to review. I'm here to schedule, I say. We'll need to verify decision-making support first. I decide to schedule, I say. Put me down with whoever can do it. She blinks once. The keyboard stops. Sir, we have procedures. So do I say. They're called rights. She looks over my shoulder for a supervisor who isn't there. Earliest independent slot is Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Hold it, I say, and put my number on the confirmation, not my son's. She hesitates a hair. Phone? Mine. Her screen clicks. You'll get a text. I'll sign what I choose, I add, because it needs saying somewhere. I step out into the careful air of the corridor and cross to the neighborhood cafe where the coffee is average and the tables are honest. The bell over the door complains when I open it. Pastor Ruth slides into the booth before my cup cools. You look like a man arguing with a filing cabinet. They've got a note from my son, I say. Policy wall. Don't argue, document, she says. If you bring receipts, I'll stand beside them. I started a folder, I say. It's thin. It won't stay thin. She folds a napkin into a square like a promise. Text me when the appointment is set, with the time it shows on your phone. If anyone strains the chain later, I can verify. Across the aisle, a couple lowers their voices like sharing bad weather. I ignore the temptation to hear my name. You realize how much I hate this. Accuracy isn't affection, she says, but it's love adjacent. My phone buzzes against the Formica. Eval, Saturday 10 a.m. Clean, simple, mechanical. I show her the screen without handing it over. Good, she says. Now stop explaining yourself to people invested in misunderstanding you. That would include my son. Especially him. I pay cash and step back into the drizzle. The street wears its gray the way a courtroom wears wood. I drive home with the radio low. At my kitchen desk, I block out Saturday 10 a.m. on the calendar and write one line under receipts. Clinic acknowledged concern note. Scheduled independent evaluation. The act of writing is a small straightening of the spine. The phone rings. Evan, I answer. You left a note at the clinic. I left a concern, he says, so they'll double-check capacity before you sign things. I just signed up for a capacity evaluation, I say, independently. That's excessive, he says. I can handle paperwork for you. Your paperwork is the problem, I say. Dad, listen. I say. I'll sign what I choose. Silence. Then the soft hammering of his careful voice. I'm trying to help. Try telling the truth, I say, and end the call before the words can curdle. I lay the phone face down. It vibrates once, determined. Voicemail, Evan. I don't press play. Some things file themselves better when they're quiet. Heart pulse. Policy isn't truth, it's a gate I can walk around. The phone stays face down on the desk, humming once more like it might grow legs and take the pen out of my hand. I let it. The calendar square for Saturday looks solid enough to stand on. The kitchen clock shivers toward 1 o'clock. I set my wallet on the counter like I'm clocking in and open next door. There it is. A clipped video of me in the church aisle captioned, "Elderly man disrupting service." It shows 3 seconds of me raising my voice and none of the verse before it. Lila's name sits at the top like a tidy label. I don't argue. Archive first, argue never, I say to the empty room. My fingers move like they remember a job. Open the page, hit the saver, capture the state it's in before they sand it down. The archive page flashes a timestamp. Captured today. It's enough. I keep the screen up just long enough to memorize the line. Then I email the public link to myself with a plain subject. Next door, before, after. And let the machine do the filing for once. Heart pulse. If they edit me, I'll freeze time first. I refresh. The post changes. The caption softens. Concerned about disruptions. And a sentence about keeping worship safe appears like a knitted throw over a bruise. Exactly why you preserve before and after. A ping. A neighbor I've known since the kids were in floaties comments. Is the clip fair without the hymn before it? Another ping. Comment removed by author. The space where backbone was gets vacuumed. I say the line out loud just to remind the walls I'm here. Archive first, argue never. My phone buzzes. Evan, please stop screenshotting our life. Me, stop editing mine. Evan, it's not like that. Me, it's exactly like that. On the thread, a moderator bot posts, "Keep it civil." The replies slow. Then a row of careful emojis appears, the digital version of people looking at their shoes. The kettle clicks off. I pour water over the grounds and watch the bloom rise and sink. There's work in letting heat do what it does and not stirring it to death. I open the archive again and take a single clean capture of the timestamp. Then I close every window that isn't labeled with the truth because I know the rule. One visible proof on the page, then back to conversation. The doorbell rings. I wipe my hands and open the door. A postal carrier in a blue cap hands me a thin white envelope. Banking Prefications Update sits in the corner like a diagnosis. Just me today, he says. Big day for paper. I've noticed. He salutes with two fingers and heads down the steps. I hold the envelope by its edges. It feels like static. Not today. Back at the table, I type a note under Receipts. Captured next door post before and after caption edits. Saved public archive link to self. I stop there. A man can drown trying to write waves. The phone taps the wood. HOA agenda. Monthly. Friday, October 24th, 7 p.m. A calendar square lights. Another small clock joining the chorus. I text Evan again, because part of justice is saying things on the record, even if the other party won't read it straight. Me. I won't post. I'll preserve. Big difference. Evan. Then don't show it to anyone. Me. Tell Lila to stop cutting context and we won't need context. 3 dots. Then nothing. The room breathes like it remembers me singing off key and not yelling. I put the phone face down and slide the envelope to the edge of the table without opening it. Some things keep longer sealed. On Sundays, the house holds its breath. I sit at the kitchen table with a pen, a folder, and the kind of quiet you can hear think. The pen hesitates above the tab. Receipts. Quinn feels like a boast, so I print it on the label in plain block letters and press it flat with my thumb. The action feels like buckling a tool belt. A memory walks in uninvited. 2019, last day on the job. Shifts rotated through to shake my hand. A kid in a fresh polo asked how I kept maintenance records so clean. Log it, or it didn't happen, I told him. Measurements beat opinions. Nora waited in the doorway, arms folded in her patient way. If they treat you like a child, she said later, show records, then make them read back to the table. I copy yesterday's notes into real lines. Date, time, who said what. No adjectives. The printer wakes with a low whir when I test a page, then goes still. I leave it still. Paper shouldn't appear on impulse. The phone buzzes against the wood. Pastor Ruth. Forward me your note. I'll confirm receipt time if needed. Me. Will do. Her reply lands fast. Don't explain. Just document. I star the thread and set the phone face down, screen still warm in my palm. The radio tries on a song from the 90s, then I kill it. I don't want nostalgia, I want edges. Evan calls. I let it ring twice, then pick up. Yeah. Dad, Lila said you've been saving things. He chews the word. Correct. This is getting excessive. It's getting accurate. You don't have to. I won't beg for belief. I'll build it. A beat. I can handle the paperwork for you. Your paperwork is why I need mine. Can we not turn our family into files? You turn me into a problem statement, I say. Files are an upgrade. He exhales. We're trying to help. Help looks like listening, I say. Silence. I hear a fork on a plate, too close to the phone. That was the sound at the start of all this. I end the call before I tell the fork what I think. I open my calendar and plant a placeholder. Bank review. Wednesday, October 22nd, 4 p.m. Not because the bank asked, because I did. When people build fences out of policy, you measure the posts before you climb. I stand, stretch, and pull a half ream of paper from the cabinet. The motion reminds my shoulders what they're for. The binder lies open, fresh rings like a mouth about to speak. I move through the house once, not looking for anything, just seeing. The chair Nora loved. The kayak paddle hanging in the garage. Evidence of an ordinary life that needs no defense until someone decides to prosecute it with etiquette. The phone buzzes again. Pastor. Got your note. Timestamp logged on my end too. I don't reply. It's enough to know the time has witnesses. I set a small stack of pages in the printer tray and cue a test run without hitting print. 3 files listed, no blue bar. Control is sometimes the choice not to press a button. Heart pulse. I won't beg for belief, I'll build it. The blinds catch the last of daylight. The room folds into evening in quiet layers. I flip the phone over to check for anything I can ignore and see a new message that isn't from family or church. Anonymous DM. I save the original clip if they delete. Drizzle paints the clubhouse windows the color of pencil lead. My phone buzzes at my palm. Fundraiser, Sunday, October 26th, 6:30 p.m. The reminder lands like a promise and a clock. I slide the phone away and push through the glass door. Rubber mats squeak. A neighbor couple snaps their umbrellas closed and goes quiet when they see me. Evening, I say. The man nods, then leans toward the woman. Is he okay to speak tonight? He whispers, not softly enough. I'm okay to speak anywhere, I say, keeping my voice level. He reddens and steers her to seats near the front. I take a breath, then a second. Heart pulse. If their room won't hear me, I'll pick mine. On the door to the meeting room, a sheet is taped at eye level. I raise my phone for one quick photo of the HOA agenda. The header shows Friday, October 24th, 7 p.m. Then I pocket the phone. One proof, no more. We file in. Lila is already near the front in a soft sweater that says, sensible from 20 feet. Evan hovers beside her with the look he saves for smoke alarms. The chair gavels. Let's come to order. I wait through dog waste bins and potholes, then rise. A family rumor bled into our block. I begin. I'd like to... Point of order, Lila says, standing without looking at me. This is off agenda, and given prior harassment concerns, I move we table. The chair doesn't even look at the rules binder. Mr. Quinn, please sit. Public comment by prior request only. I stay on my feet a beat longer than polite. You're letting edited gossip do what I'm not allowed to. Be heard. The chair taps the gavel once. Sir. I sit because I will not be the performance they came for. In the ripple of whispers that follows, Evan leans back toward me. Dad, not here. You made it public first, I say. Lila pivots to a couple behind her, voice low but carrying. We're just protecting the kids. He gets agitated. We want to keep things calm. I'm agitated enough to read out loud, I say, but apparently that's dangerous. She doesn't answer me. She looks past me, toward the couple with the umbrellas, making sure their eyes stay on her version of the room. The chair plows on with budget lines that sound like padding. I watch the clock and the crowd and count head turns when my name floats across a whisper. The math isn't flattering. When the meeting empties into the hallway, Evan moves fast. Dad, please. Please what? I ask. Don't keep doing this. You're making it worse. Worse than being erased? Not everything needs to be a fight, he says. I'm not fighting, I say. I'm documenting who shuts whom up. Lila steps in, tone wrapped in the gauze of concern. A public forum isn't the place. You just used a public forum to brand me a problem. It's about safety, she says, and that word again is the coat she throws over anything that needs hiding. I glance toward the sign-in table. The HOA secretary watches the hallway without moving her head. She meets my eyes for a second, then looks down at her pad. Did you get my objection on the record? I ask her. She nods once. We keep notes. Verbatim? I say. She tucks a pen behind her ear and gives the smallest shrug a person can give and still call it a shrug. We'll see what's said. Evan touches my sleeve. Let's talk outside. Not in this building? I ask. He looks hurt. Dad. We're done here, I say, not loud, not soft. I'll pick a room with a mic that doesn't cut off mid-sentence. Outside, the drizzle has graduated to rain. People hurry to cars with the selfish grace weather allows. I stand under the overhang until my breath is steady, then head to the truck. By the time I start the engine, my phone lights the cab. HOA secretary. Minutes will reflect objections verbatim. I let the message glow in the dark for one more second before I put the truck in gear. The fundraiser card on my lock screen blinks like a lighthouse. Sun, October 26th, 6:30 p.m. I pocket the phone and set the thin archive print on my desk. One page, 2 captures, before and after. Context that breathes. I call the clinic. Dr. Patel, Harold Quinn. She picks up herself. Mr. Quinn, your screening was normal. I'll email a signed summary by 5 o'clock. You'll want the battery name spelled out. I do. You sound steady. I am. I'm also being edited in public. A pause with paper in it. Then bring text, not temperature. I will. I hang up and head to the notary kiosk tucked between a shipping store and a payday place. The bell over the door makes the sound of cheap metal pretending to be brass. A number ticket crackles in my hand. A woman in front of me glances back. Saw that church clip. Rough. Clipped, I say. The hymn before it matters. She nods toward my folder. Hope folks share the whole thing. They will. Her number dings. She looks away like the conversation is something fragile she might break by owning it. My turn. The notary is a man who looks like he trusts rulers. He slides the rubber mat toward me. Document to notarize? Attesting that this is a true and correct print of a public web page as captured today, I say, laying the single page flat. He reads without drama. Name, date, signature. Initial there. He points, then pauses. Purpose? Accuracy. He shrugs approval like a craftsman admiring a straight line. I sign. He inks the seal. Stamp it clean, I say. Thump. The impression lands. Crisp circle, county, and date. He holds the page at eye level to check the edges, then sets it back down as if measuring a cut. Behind the counter glass, my phone shivers. Evan, please don't make a scene with church people. I type with one thumb. Truth embarrasses the lie, not me. The notary clears his throat. You need a second copy? One is enough when it's honest. He slides the page across. Keep it flat while the ink dries. I walk it to the car like a dinner plate. Heart pulse. I don't need permission, only proof. Back home, I set the stamped page on the table and call Pastor Ruth on speaker. Tell me what you have, she says. Notarized archive of the post, before and after. Doctor's summary by 5. I can keep it to 3 minutes if you give me a mic. We'll have 2 minutes and then witnesses, she says. No crosstalk, no shouting. People are generous when they can hear. Generous is a big ask. Then be precise. I'm good at that. A voice murmurs near her, someone in the doorway. She covers the phone and says muffled, We'll keep order. Back to me. Bring receipts. I will. The phone vibrates again. Evan, please stand down. Me. Bring your truth. I'll bring mine. I sit, breathe, and let the room be ordinary for 60 seconds. Coffee, chair legs scrape, the smallest tick of the kitchen clock. Then I open email. New, capacity summary. 5 p.m. appears as a thread title without the body yet. I star it and leave the window open like a door I'll walk through at the right time. The file name lands in my downloads like a small animal. him_full.mp4. I drag it to the desktop where I can see it breathe. The first notes of the choir come through my speakers thin as a postcard, then widen. The verse I knew was missing is right where I said it was, before my voice, not after. A desktop ping. DM. Unknown. I filmed the whole hymn. Keep my name out of it. Me. I will. Thank you. DM. I don't want trouble with people at church. Me. You gave context. That's not trouble. That's truth. DM. The typing bubble freezes, then vanishes. Heart pulse. Math carries what gossip drops. I close the video and open the hashing tool. No fanfare. I feed it hymnful.mp4 and wait the way you wait for a kettle, quietly, trusting the heat. Evan calls while the bar crawls. I let it ring twice, then answer. You're still digging, Dad, he says. I'm not digging, I say. I'm leveling. This is hurting the kids. What hurts them is thinking lies get to live just because they're tidy. Can you stop, please? I can be accurate, or I can be silent, I say. Pick one. He doesn't. He hangs up without the goodbye, which is a kind of answer. The tool opens a clean page with a heading I wanted to see. SHA256. Below it sits the long fingerprint I won't recite. I take one look to fix the shape in my head, then save the page with the file and tuck both into my receipts folder. One visible proof cue per day is plenty. I text the anonymous sender. Got it. Locked. No reply. That's fine. Courage doesn't always come with a signature. The room returns to its ordinary sounds. Fridge hum. A car door 2 houses down. The tick of the living room clock pretending not to be a countdown. I write a single line in my binder. Original clip received. Fingerprints saved. No flourish. The point is to leave the future, nothing to argue with. My email tab blinks. A banner slides down from the top like a stage light. Capacity summary. Received. I don't open it. Not yet. Let it sit where I can see it without grabbing at it. Precision, not volume. I clear a rectangle of desk the size of an honest promise. The binder waits open-mouthed. Phone face up. The starred thread at the top reads, Capacity Summary, 5 p.m. I tap it. The PDF opens and fills the screen with a clean header. Annika Patel, MD, Cognitive Evaluation Summary. No scrolling, no codes, just the title and the letterhead that says a grown man is allowed to steer his life. I close it with my thumb. Heart, pulse. I have something heavier than anger, proof. Evan calls immediately, as if my screen sent up a flare. I pick up. Don't ambush us tonight, he says. Truth isn't an ambush, I say. It's a mirror. Dad, please. People will be there, the kids. Mirrors only hurt liars. He exhales into the phone like it might fog my side of the glass. You're going to make it worse. I'm going to make it clear. I end the call before his careful voice sands the edges. The phone rings again. Marcus Lee. I'm at the church lot, he says. I hear a car door beep and gulls over the lake. We'll post by the left aisle. If anyone tries to kill the mic, I'll repeat your line. Calm and loud. I don't want shouting. No shouting, he says. Just clarity. Pastor's on board. Thank you. We're here early. He hangs up. I set the phone down and lay out the run of show like parts on a bench. 2 minutes. State what the call log proves without playing audio. Show nothing. Say only the fact. 1 minute. Before, after exists. Notarized print available if needed. No waving paper. 1 minute. Doctor's conclusion exists. Header only tonight. Full summary on file. Witness. Pastor for order. Marcus for policy reading if requested. I rehearse, once, under my breath, trimming anything that smells like performance. Pastor Ruth texts. Order stands. 2 minutes, then witnesses. Me. Understood. She replies with a single check mark. Precision, not volume. I walk the house and gather the bag. Laptop, HDMI, clicker, the binder in a sleeve so it doesn't flash like a weapon. The stamped page stays flat between cardboard. The hash print lives in the folder, quiet as math. The doctor PDF sits on the desktop like a sealed envelope. Lila texts, please don't do this to us, Harold. Me, I'm doing it for me. Lila, think of optics, think of the kids. Me, I am. That's why it will be clean. I call Pastor Ruth. If they interrupt, they won't, she says. If they do, I'll put a hand on the mic and say, Harold has the floor, then your witnesses. I'll keep the verbs short. That's your superpower, she says, and I can hear paper moving, the orderly shuffle of someone building a wall out of fairness. I walk to the kitchen and write the hour on a yellow post-it. Tonight, 6:30 p.m. I stick it to the binder like a badge. The clock says 4:41. Time isn't hurrying. I am. Evan again. At least tell me what you're going to say. Me. You already heard it when you forgot to hang up. No reply. The dots appear, vanish, appear. He is editing himself and can't find a cut that flatters. I sit for a minute to let the jitters pass through like weather. The chair creaks. The house breathes. I run the opening one more time. On Tuesday at 7:14 p.m., you forgot to hang up. What followed was a conversation about removing me from my own decisions. That's a fact. I brought the log and sent myself a contemporaneous note. No audio, no tricks, just time and a sentence. I let the words sit on the table and see if any of them asked to leave. None do. The phone lights. Dr. Patel. If needed, I can confirm my summary line by phone tonight. Prefer not to read on stage. Me. Understood. Your header is enough. Her reply. It should be. I close my eyes and picture the room. The lake through the windows. The folding chairs. The stage where the youth hand out raffle tickets. The left aisle where Marcus will stand. The sound tech with his bored competence. I see the moment the truth goes from mine to ours. The printer hums once and stops. Habit. Nothing to print. Good. The bag zips, a straight line. I carry it to the door and set it down. Don't ambush us, Evan texts again, last try. You ambushed me with etiquette, I send. I'm answering with receipts. I set an alarm on my phone. Depart 6:05 p.m. The screen gives me the small satisfaction of agreeing. Then I place the post-it where I can't ignore it. The binder snaps shut, square and certain, beside the yellow square that reads, Tonight, 6:30 p.m. The alarm icon glows. My lock screen blinks. Fundraiser, Sunday, October 26th, 6:30 p.m. The clock below it says 3:17 p.m. The day is already making choices for me. I call the branch and ask for someone who can speak policy like a human. They transfer me to Dana Cole. Mr. Quinn, she says, voice plain as a countertop. How can I help? My account just started behaving like a skittish dog, I say. Explain your trusted contact rules and why a temporary review flag shows up after my son calls you. We sometimes place time-limited reviews when a trusted contact raises concerns, she says. Funds remain yours. Certain transactions may prompt an extra step. An extra step that looks like a wall, I say. It shouldn't be a wall, she answers. It should be a speed bump. I can drive, I say. I don't need cones. Silence, then the sound of a chair adjusting. Do you want me to email our customer-facing memo? It explains safeguards without naming anyone. Yes, I say. Header visible, no numbers, no case specifics. We don't include case specifics in those, she says. Give me a minute. A new text lands while I wait. Evan, please cancel tonight. Optics are bad. Let things cool. Me, truth isn't optional. Evan, Dad, the kids. Me, you keep saying the kids when you mean control. A mail chime. I open the new message and let my eyes stop where I told them to. The header line reads, Customer Safeguards, Trusted Contact and Temporary Review. I do not scroll. No codes, no IDs. I keep it on the screen like a steady hand. Got it, I tell Dana. I see the header. Mr. Quinn, she says, if you feel any hold is inappropriate, we can review internally. You also have the right to remove or change trusted contacts. I'll exercise rights after tonight, I say. For now, I need clarity in plain English. That memo is as plain as we make it, she says. If you need me to confirm that such policies exist, on or off the record, I can do that. On the record tonight, if asked, I say. A thin beat. If asked. Thank you. I hang up and immediately call Pastor Ruth. Report? She says. Bank memo. Header says exactly what it needs to. Officer can confirm policy exists if you call on her. Good, she says. 2 minutes for you, then witnesses. No crosstalk. We close with order. Order sounds like a hymn we can both sing, I say. She chuckles. Keep verbs short. I text Marcus. Dana Cole at River City Bank can confirm policy exists, only if needed. Marcus. Logged. We'll keep it simple. Another text pops. Lila this time. Please don't embarrass our family, Harold. Me. Receipts embarrass the lie, not the family. Lila. People will think me. They'll think whatever is true in front of them. My phone buzzes with Evan again. Voice urgent when I pick up. Dad, if there's a bank hold, it's because people care about you. If you need to hold something, I say, hold your assumptions. You're twisting this. You twisted it first, I say. I'm straightening. Cancel tonight, please. No. Then at least don't name us. I won't need to, I say. You already did that when you forgot to hang up. He says nothing. We listen to the same line hold the same space between us, and then he disconnects. I look back at the memo header. It behaves exactly how a heading should. It tells the truth without peacocking. I take one breath with it open, then close the window so I don't start collecting more proof cues than I'm allowed. One document on stage at a time. Precision, not volume. I pace once through the living room, past Nora's chair, past the place where the afternoon makes a rectangle of light on the floorboards. Money is a blunt instrument. I won't be. I send Pastor Ruth one more line. If someone labels this elder abuse, shut that down unless it's an accusation backed by evidence. Her reply arrives fast. We'll keep language clean. Witnesses, then order. The house is quieter than it should be before a storm. I sit and sip water because I've learned outrage dries you out faster than heat. The phone vibrates against the table. It isn't Evan. It isn't Lila. It's the HOA secretary. I'm attending tonight. I'll listen. I let the text sit on the glass a moment, like a seal starting to form. The church smells like coffee and lake air, the kind that slips through a door faster than people do. A poster board leans on an easel. Canoe logo, 6:30 p.m. in bold. The wall clock above the office door reads 5:22. Time has stopped pretending to be patient. Lila reaches me first, smile like a seatbelt. Harold, let's not do this. 2 minutes of clean truth, I say. Then raffle, then pie. Evan stands a step behind her. Dad, think about the kids. Optics. Fear isn't policy, I say. He lowers his voice. Please. Pastor Ruth appears with a clipboard and a steadiness that quiets furniture. Mr. Quinn, pastor voice now. You'll have 2 minutes, verbal only, then witnesses, no crosstalk. That's all I want, I say. Lila leans in. You can say it privately. Spare everyone the scene. Scenes happen when truth is blocked, I say. I'm here to keep it short. A roll of raffle tickets rasps on the counter. A donor in a rain shell tilts her head toward Pastor Ruth. We're not doing speeches, right? People just want the raffle. People get order, Pastor says even. Then raffle. The donor's eyes flick to Lila. Lila gives a small nod, like ownership travels by glance. I file the moment under How Rooms Bend. Marcus taps my elbow. Left aisle, third row, he says. If they try to ice the mic, I'll repeat your line. Calm. No shouting, I say. He smiles. Clarity, not volume. The sound tech lifts a hand from behind the table. Mic check at 6:10. Don't tap it. I won't. I step out of the current and watch the pieces take their places. Youth folding programs, ushers moving chairs, a woman lining up pies like numbers. The lake outside lies flat as a promise. This is what order looks like when someone chooses it on purpose. The HOA secretary arrives with a canvas tote and a pencil already balanced behind her ear. She sidles close without making a show. I heard what happened at the meeting, she says. If anyone tries to drown you out here, I'll minute that interruption when we correct the record. You don't owe me that, I say. I owe the record, she says, and tucks a second pencil into her tote like insurance. Evan circles back, eyes on my bag. Please don't plug anything in. I won't need to, I say. It's words. You can't unsay them, he says. That's the point, I say. Heart pulse. Order isn't their gift. It's my choice. Pastor Ruth lifts her clipboard like a conductor's baton. Walk with me, she says. We pass the program board, 6:30 p.m. in paint, and stop at the edge of the stage. She points to a line in neat block letters. You're right after the hymn, 2 minutes. Then witnesses, Marcus, then, if needed, Dana from the bank by phone. No paper waving. Verbal only, I repeat. I can do that. She looks over my shoulder at Evan and Lila. If anyone interrupts, I'll put a hand on the mic and say, Harold has the floor. Thank you. Keep the verbs short, she says, a smile in it. I stand in the aisle a moment and let the room find its sound. PA hiss, bulletins flick straight, the soft murmur of neighbors deciding who to be. Lila whispers to a pair of donors. Evan watches the lake like it might tell him how to stop a tide. Pastor Ruth checks her watch, then the clock above the office. 5:22 p.m. again, stubborn as math. The MC steps out from the side door with a program in hand and a lapel mic the size of a coin. She looks at me, then at the line on the paper with my name. She taps it with her finger, firm enough to be heard without the mic. You're locked. At 5:37 p.m., I'm tying my shoe when the doorbell finds a stern note. Through the glass, blue, reflective, polite. I open the door halfway. Evening. Tacoma PD, the taller one says. Wellness check. Family member called. I'm vertical, oriented, and late, I say. Event at 6:30. Mind if we step in? The shorter asks. Do you need to? Just a quick look and a couple questions. I let them into the entry where Nora's coat hook still waits for a coat. The taller scans the room like it has secrets. What day is it? He asks. Sunday, October 26th. I point at the wall calendar with my post-it army. Where are we? My house, Tacoma, 2 turns from St. Luke's. Any dizziness, confusion, thoughts of harm? None. Thoughts of pie, I say. There will be several. He almost smiles. Caller said you've been upset. Concern isn't a warrant. The shorter nods at the kitchen. Medication? Blood pressure. Labeled. Taken. They exchange a look that says paperwork. The tall one pulls out a small pad. I'll log we made contact, no issues. If anyone calls again, we'll reference this. He tears the top sheet and hands it over. At the top, in block type, incident report number. I keep my thumb off any numbers and let the header sit in my vision like a level bubble. Copy stays with you, he says. Good, I say. I prefer receipts to rumors. We walk back to the door. The porch light snaps on, doing my neighbors the courtesy of clarity. Across the street, blinds tilt. My phone vibrates. Evan. I answer while the officers step off the porch. Dad, don't go tonight, he says. We're worried. You sent police to measure my pie plans? I asked them to check. You asked them to interrupt, I say. Concern isn't a warrant. Please, just stand down. I stood up, I say, and end the call before my voice raises to meet my blood. Inside, I grab my bag and tap the bank app to make sure the donation I promised can clear. A gray banner rolls across the top. Account limited. Additional verification required. No screenshot. I put the phone face down and breathe once through my teeth. Heart pulse. They want me small. I'll arrive taller. The doorbell rings again. Not police. USPS. Same cap from the other day. Thicker envelope in his hand. Certified, he says. From River City Bank. What happens if I refuse at the doorstep? He holds up a red label like a warning flag. I mark it refused. It goes back. You can handle it at the branch. Do that, I say. I don't sign policy ambushes. He nods, efficient and neutral, then sticks the label on the envelope. Refused, in block red at eye level, when he hands it for a second, and then takes it back. Behind him, my across-the-street neighbor pauses with his dog and takes in the word like a verdict. The carrier tips the cap. Have a good night. Planning on it, I say. I close the door, and the house feels briefly smaller, like the walls came in to listen. I slide the incident slip into the front of my binder sleeve, careful not to cover the header. Not a show tonight, just order. The phone lights the room again, not with a call, but with the small imperative I set hours ago. Depart, 6:05 p.m. The alarm flashes, insistent, while I stand in the doorway with the officer's slip cooling in my hand and the ghost of that red refuse sticker still burning in my eyes. The sanctuary air carries coffee and lake chill. Programs rustle. The program board on the foyer easel keeps its bright 6:30 p.m. like a promise no one wants to own. Inside, the wall clock crawls past 6:28. Marcus is at the left aisle, third row, palms on the chairback, head up. The HOA secretary sits 2 rows behind him with a notebook angled on her knee, pencil waiting like a metronome the song hasn't earned yet. Lila materializes at my shoulder, smile practiced to the millimeter. We're skipping speeches, she says, for the children. 2 minutes, I say, verbal, clean. Evan's voice comes softer. Dad, please. The donors, optics. Etiquette isn't evidence, I say. Pastor Ruth passes with a clipboard and a purpose that moves chairs without touching them. She nods once to me, once to the MC, who looks relieved to be told who she is. By the sound table, the sound tech twists a dial. The PA gives a small hiss like a cat deciding. Lila leans toward him, murmuring with a hand that points to a strip of tape labeled C H2. Channel 2 is the floor mic, he tells her, not quite whispering. We don't need it, she says. We're doing raffle first. People are here to give order, Pastor says, appearing as if she heard a wrong note. Announcements, hymn, then 2 minutes. That's the program. Lila smiles. We're adapting. We're keeping order, Pastor says, voice soft and edged. She turns to the MC. Call me up for the transitions. A donor in a rain shell slips up to the MC. Not tonight, right? Speeches scare pledges. Just raffle. The MC flicks her eyes toward Lila, then to Pastor, then lands on her program. We'll be brief, she says to no one in particular, which is a way of lying to everyone. Evan pulls me a step to the side stage where the curtain makes people feel private. If you love us, he says, don't do this. I'm doing it because I love myself, I say. You'll make a scene. Scenes happen when truth is blocked. But the kids, then hold their hands and listen, I say. 2 minutes. Then Pi, his mouth opens, closes. He looks smaller than the room needs him to be. Heart pulse. They can dim the mic. They can't dim the truth. Marcus edges closer, quiet. If they kill the mic, he murmurs, I'll repeat your line. Calm. No shouting. Clarity, he says, and drifts back to his mark. The HOA secretary catches my eye, taps her pencil once against the paper. 1 dot. Ready. The hymn starts. A river that knows where the rocks are. I mouth the words without voice, saving my breath for nouns. Halfway through the second verse, Lila leans again toward the sound tech. The tech looks at Pastor, then at Lila, then at the board like maybe it can make the decision for him. Pastor steps closer, her presence the size of a hand on a lever. The hymn swells. The MC smiles too hard. As the last chord hangs, the tech's finger hovers above chapter 2. The LED next to it flickers, on-off, as if trying out defeat. Lila's voice threads through the hiss. Just for now. Donors first. Pastor speaks before the MC can. Thank you for your generosity, she says, a microphone nowhere near her mouth and still somehow heard. Before raffle, a 2-minute correction to the record. The MC blinks. Lila smiles wider. Or we can. 2 minutes, Pastor repeats, turning to the tech. Keep the channel live. The tech's hand stalls. The MC shuffles papers. Donors whisper, not tonight, like it's a prayer. Evan rubs his forehead like a man trying to erase a word. I put 2 fingers on the back of the chair in front of me and feel the grain. Marcus adjusts his stance. The HOA secretary writes a single line before anything is said, as if the idea itself needs recording. Pastor lifts a palm to the room. The hum drops by a degree. She nods to the MC. The MC nods to the tech. Lila leans in one more time. A whisper wrapped like a ribbon. The LED next to chapter 2 goes dark. I see Pastor's body shift forward a half step, the motion of someone about to say, no, in a way that's bigger than a word. The wall clock clicks to 6:29 p.m. and holds there like a breath the room hasn't let out. The hymn's last chord finds its seat. Pastor Ruth steps into the scene before anyone can stuff it with chatter. 2 minutes, she says, palm steady. The sound tech glances from Lila to Pastor and back. Then chapter 2 blinks to life. The wall clock clicks, 6:31 p.m. I walk to the floor mic. I'll keep to the promise. Verbs, not volume, I say. Heart pulse. I choose verbs over volume. 1 fact, 1 line I wrote when it happened, and 2 witness confirmations. Then we go back to raffle and pie. I lift my phone. The screen shows a simple rectangle of truth. Call log. 7:14 p.m. I hold it just high enough for the front rows to see, not waving it. On Tuesday at 7:14 p.m., my son forgot to hang up. What followed was a conversation about moving my decisions without me. I keep my eyes on the room, not the screen. That night I emailed myself a single sentence. I'll read it now. I take a breath and deliver the controlled public reading, slow and plain. Evan and Lila discussed taking power, and before Dad starts slipping, while the call remained open. A ripple moves the way wind moves rye. Lila steps toward the tech. We don't need, Pastor. Order. I nod to the side aisle. Pastor asked me to provide confirmations without paper waving. Dr. Patel, the phone on the lectern is on speaker. Can you state your summary line? Her voice is clean tin. Mr. Quinn's evaluation was within normal limits for decision-making capacity. That is my summary. Thank you, doctor. I turn slightly. Dana Cole, River City Bank. Do your customer safeguards include a temporary review if a trusted contact calls with a concern? Yes, she says, it exists. It does not transfer control. Thank you. Lila tries again, softer. Harold, for the children. Etiquette isn't evidence, I say, and stop there. Marcus, at the left aisle, raises his voice once, calm enough to be permission, not pressure. We heard the timestamp. We heard the note. We heard the doctor. That's the record. Silence has a sound when a room realizes it's been borrowing someone else's. I look at Evan. You forgot to hang up. I remembered to write it down. He flinches like the truth touched a nerve he was pretending didn't exist. He steps forward before Lila can touch his sleeve. I want to say something, he tells Pastor. Pastor measures him in a half second and moves the mic an inch toward his mouth. Evan takes it with both hands. Dad's right, he says, voice already frayed. I forgot to hang up. I called the clinic with a concern note. I let the next door post go up. He swallows. I told myself it was about safety. It was about control. I'm sorry. He turns to the room. I'm sorry to my father and to you for what we implied about him. Lila's face freezes, then goes politely blank. A few people hold phones higher, others lower them, not wanting to film a man learn out loud. Evan looks back at me. I'm asking Pastor to help correct the record. At church, at the HOA, at the bank if it helps. I'll retract what I can and name what I did. Pastor lets the quiet do a full lap before she speaks. The record will reflect this correction, she says. Her eyes find the HOA secretary, who is already writing. Marcus nods once, witness to tone, not just words. I return to the mic for one final verb. Thank you. Then I step away. For a beat, the room doesn't clap. It exhales. The MC, blinking, remembers she has a job. Thank you, Mr. Quinn. Thank you, Evan. She clears her throat. Raffle begins in 2 minutes. Phones lower. Shoulders drop. A child laughs in the back. A sound that forgives everyone except the people who refuse to hear it. Evan hands me the mic back like a thing you borrow and shouldn't have. Dad, we'll sort mechanics later, I say. Tonight was the truth. His eyes shine unstyled. I'm sorry, he says again, smaller. And that's the line that lands, not because it's loud, but because it's exact. The wall clock moves in its slow, polite way towards 6:33. People drift toward pies, which is how communities remind themselves they exist. I feel the weight in my chest change from rock to tool. In my pocket, a small buzz. Mon, 9 a.m., bank manager. I don't open it. Enforcement is tomorrow. Tonight, the room knows what happened. My phone gives the small nudge I asked for. Monday, 9 a.m., bank manager. I park, breathe, and walk in. The lobby clock says 9:07, 7 minutes late for worry, right on time for correction. Dana Cole meets me near the teller line. Mr. Quinn. Review first, I say, then contacts, clean and simple. We can lift the temporary review today, she says, and you can remove or replace any trusted contact. Remove my son. No replacement for now. She studies me, neutral. Understood. We sit at her desk. Keys whisper. She turns the monitor a few degrees my way, then back. Verification complete. The review is lifted. She prints a single page, slides it across a pad. At the top, a tidy header. Review cleared. River City Bank. I let the letterhead line sit in frame. 1Q, no more. Keep it for your records, she says. Justice is paperwork that breathes, I say, and it surprises both of us that the sentence lands soft. She smiles. Anything else? Trusted contact? Removed, she says. If anyone calls with concerns, we'll log and call you directly. Good. Footsteps scuff behind me. Evan. He stops at the polite distance a son uses when the lobby is watching. Dad, I can. He looks at Dana. We're just trying to help fix this. I turn the notice over, face down. It's fixed. Let me be your contact again. I'll do it right. Care isn't control, I say. He swallows. Can we at least talk after this? We'll root talk through Pastor Ruth for a while, I say. You and I need clean lanes, for the kids too. He nods, small. Okay. Dana clears her throat in a way that is also kindness. Mr. Quinn, anything else you want documented? No, thank you. We shake hands. Out front, the October light makes honest work of the sidewalk. Evan follows me a step. I meant the apology, he says. I know, I say. Keep meaning it. By 10:15, I'm at the clinic. The receptionist recognizes me without making a meal of it. Healthcare proxy update, I say, sliding Marcus's contact card across. Effective today. We'll need a signed designation, she says. Let's do it. We finish the HIPAA/proxy stack in a 3-breath montage. Name, signature, witness initials. A notary in a side office stamps the clinic's copy. No need to admire the stamp. I'm not collecting trophies. I call Marcus in the parking lot. You're my guy, I say. I'll answer, he says, even if it's just to say you don't need me. That's the job, he laughs. Lunch on me when the dust settles. Pie, I say. We promised pie. At home, I sit at my desk and do the part no one claps for. I open settings and confirm trusted contact. None. I add a calendar block that repeats. First Mondays. Account review, 9 a.m. I write 3 lines under receipts. Bank review cleared. Contact removed. Proxy to Marcus. Clinic logged. Church/HOA. Corrections scheduled. The phone rings. Pastor Ruth. 2 quick things, she says. Wednesday bulletin will include a correction. Sunday will read a line out loud. The HOA secretary asked for the exact wording of your objection to insert in the next minutes. Use the phrase on the record, I say, and thank you. Order is catching on, she says. How's your chest? Lighter, I say. She exhales into the phone like a benediction. Good. Evan's name pops up. I let it go to voicemail and text instead. Coordination goes through Pastor for now. Thursdays 4 to 6 p.m. are good for the kids at my place. Bring nothing but them. 3 dots appear. Disappear. Return. Understood. Thank you, Dad. I stand and walk the house once. Nora's chair by the window holds its shape. The binder lies flat, closed. The kayak paddle on the garage wall is still just a paddle, not a metaphor. I open the bank notice one more time, not to gloat, but to make sure my hands know it's done. Then I put it in the sleeve behind the stamped page and the incident slip. Quiet neighbors on a street called Enough. In the late afternoon, the lake throws back a coin of sunlight. I set a phone boundary I should have set months ago. Do not disturb for anyone not in my favorites after 8 p.m. Tomorrow, I'll add my attorney to the favorites list. Not because I expect a fight, because systems like clarity. A new text arrives. Pastor Ruth. Reading next Sunday. Psalm 126. You in? I star it and don't answer yet. Some yeses deserve quiet before they're spoken. After the notices and signatures, the house settled back into itself. Patience did the heavy lifting. Truth walked in on 2 feet and stayed. No one gets to erase me anymore, least of all in the name of care. I set my phone down. Do not disturb. On. The screen hushes to black with a soft click. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. Type 1 if you resonate with this story.